Most would have to run the streets for years to learn a lesson that profound. It took me 2 seconds. Never get between somebody and their paper.
The entertainment world has been buzzing nonstop after Shannon Sharpe's shocking arrest. And now Dave Chappelle has officially entered the conversation. Known for his unfiltered honesty and ability to cut through the noise, Dave's recent remarks have thrown gasoline on an already raging fire. When the news broke about Shannon's legal troubles, everyone expected the usual: memes, jokes, hot takes, and a wave of criticism. But what nobody saw coming was Chappelle stepping in, not to mock or deflect, but to deliver a message that hit deeper than anyone anticipated. During a surprise appearance at a small stand-up show in Ohio, Chappelle took a few minutes between jokes to address Shannon's situation head-on, and what he said sent shockwaves through both the sports and entertainment worlds.
We hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time in their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah. Would you say you lost your mind, sort of?
No.
No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy, but it's incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a lot of instances, I was deliberately being put through stress.
Y'all love to build men up just to tear them down, Dave said, his tone shifting from playful to serious. It's not even about guilt or innocence anymore. It's about who gets to survive a mistake. That one line spread across social media like wildfire. In a few words, Chappelle managed to turn a scandal into a reflection of a much bigger issue: how fame, power, and the internet's thirst for drama collide to destroy people faster than any judge or jury ever could. For a man known for his sharp comedy, this wasn't a punchline. It was a reality check. Shannon Sharpe's arrest had already divided the internet. Details are still developing, but early reports suggest the former NFL star turned media powerhouse was taken into custody after an altercation outside a Los Angeles club. Witnesses claim it started as a heated argument that spiraled out of control, and by the time the police arrived, the situation was messy. Whether it was a misunderstanding or something more serious remains unclear, but what's undeniable is how fast the story blew up.
It was completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay. When you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through, and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Within hours, videos, rumors, and commentary flooded every platform imaginable. And in the middle of that chaos, Chappelle's words became a focal point. Not because he was defending Shannon outright, but because he dared to ask why people are so eager to see public figures fall. The reaction to Dave's comments was explosive. Some praised him for defending Shannon's humanity at a time when everyone else was rushing to judge. Others accused him of deflecting responsibility, saying his comments ignored the seriousness of the charges. But what made his response so powerful is that it wasn't about guilt, it was about culture. "We don't care about truth anymore," Dave continued. "We just care about trending." That line hit a nerve across generations. It was raw, it was bold, and it was exactly what people expect from someone who spent his entire career calling out uncomfortable truths. Chappelle's statement instantly reframed the conversation. Suddenly, it wasn't just about Shannon's arrest. It was about how society treats its icons. Why do people celebrate their rise only to celebrate their fall even more? Why do we love to turn flaws into headlines and pain into entertainment? For Chappelle, this wasn't just a defense of Shannon Sharpe. It was a critique of everyone watching, sharing, and judging from a distance. To understand why Dave Chappelle's comments hit so hard, you have to look at who Shannon Sharpe has become in recent years.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Buzz.
Once known primarily as a Hall of Fame tight end, Sharpe reinvented himself into one of the most influential voices in sports media. Through his shows Undisputed and Club Shay Shay, he became known for his fiery debates, authenticity, and willingness to call things like he saw them. But with that success came scrutiny. Sharpe's outspoken personality, combined with his growing cultural relevance, made him a target for both fans and critics. He wasn't just a sports analyst, he was a symbol of how athletes could transition into cultural figures, commanding as much attention off the field as they did on it. That's why his arrest hit so differently. It wasn't just another celebrity scandal. It was a fall from grace for someone who built his reputation on discipline, integrity, and self-improvement. Early reports suggest that tensions had been building in Sharpe's personal life, including disputes involving his media contracts and private relationships. While none of those rumors have been confirmed, the speculation alone was enough to turn the story into front-page news. By the time official details were released, the internet had already made up its mind. Memes, fake narratives, and exaggerated accounts were spreading like wildfire, painting Sharpe as everything from a reckless celebrity to a victim of fame. This is where Chappelle's words carried so much weight. He's seen this cycle play out countless times: the rise, the scandal, the takedown. He referenced it directly in his monologue, saying, "The same people laughing at Shannon today will be crying for him tomorrow. That's how this works." The crowd went silent. It wasn't a joke, it was a reminder. In a culture that thrives on chaos, people forget that behind every headline is a real person. Chappelle wasn't excusing Sharpe's behavior, but he was questioning why society has turned failure into entertainment. Social media, of course, had its own interpretation. Fans debated endlessly over what Chappelle's real message was. Some argued that he was defending Sharpe because of their shared respect as black men in entertainment, both of whom built success through hard work and raw talent.
I don't know that mercy. If you said that one more time, I'm gonna choke out of you when I see you.
Others claimed he was using the scandal to make a broader point about cancel culture and how it's become weaponized against anyone who doesn't conform. Either way, his words struck a chord. Even major media outlets picked up the story, quoting Chappelle's remarks in their coverage of Sharpe's arrest. For Shannon, the timing couldn't have been worse. His career was already under pressure, and now, one of the most respected comedians alive had turned his arrest into a national talking point. Still, many saw it as a blessing in disguise. Chappelle's defense, subtle as it was, forced people to slow down and reconsider the story. Instead of just gossip, it became a moment of reflection about accountability, empathy, and the fine line between fame and self-destruction. And in a world that rarely allows grace, Chappelle's words offered at least a glimpse of it. As the public continues to process Shannon Sharpe's arrest and Dave Chappelle's shocking response, the conversation has expanded far beyond one man's legal issues. What's unfolding now feels like a commentary on the entire culture of celebrity downfall, a cycle that's become so normalized it barely shocks people anymore. Chappelle, known for addressing uncomfortable truths, used this moment to expose something deeper: how society has turned judgment into sport. "We act like we love our heroes," he said, "but we only love the parts that make us feel better about ourselves."
This just in, the Texas attorney who targeted Sean Diddy Combs with dozens of civil lawsuits on behalf of John and Jane Does allegedly victimized by the music mogul has a new target in his sights: NFL legend Shannon Sharpe.
That statement hit hard across timelines, interviews, and think pieces. It wasn't about Sharpe anymore. It was about everyone watching. The irony of this entire situation is that Chappelle himself knows what it's like to be on the other side of public scrutiny. From walking away from his own multi-million-dollar show to being labeled controversial for his views, he's lived through the same kind of backlash he's now criticizing. That gives his words about Shannon more credibility. When he speaks about the dangers of fame and the way media weaponizes mistakes, he's not theorizing, he's remembering, he's lived it. And that perspective is what separates his take from everyone else's. It's not gossip, it's experience. Still, not everyone agrees with his approach. Some commentators argue that Chappelle's remarks downplay accountability, that by focusing on the public's reaction, he's distracting from whatever Shannon actually did. But others see it differently. To them, Chappelle's message isn't about defending wrongdoing. It's about defending humanity. He's challenging the culture that dehumanizes people the moment they fall from grace. In his own words, "You can hate what a man did and still not hate the man." That idea, simple as it sounds, is something the internet seems to have forgotten. Meanwhile, Shannon Sharpe's situation continues to evolve. Sources close to the case suggest his legal team is working toward a resolution, but public opinion remains divided. Some fans are calling for patience and due process, while others believe his reputation may never recover. Sponsors and media partners are reportedly pausing deals until more details emerge. It's a reminder of how fragile fame really is, how one moment, one decision, one misunderstanding can erase decades of credibility.
My career, it has happened many, many times since, when someone would intimidate me or scare me and take something that I believe was mine, get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from him is akin to killing him.
And as Chappelle pointed out, the same fans who celebrated Sharpe's rise are now dissecting his downfall for entertainment. What's fascinating is how Chappelle's comments have managed to shift the tone of the conversation. Instead of focusing solely on Sharpe's mistakes, more people are asking what it says about the system that thrives on them. Why are people quicker to share scandals than redemption stories? Why do we treat public humiliation as entertainment? Chappelle's voice has turned a tabloid moment into a cultural mirror, forcing people to confront their own complicity in the cycle. Whether you agree with him or not, one thing's clear. His response has made the situation bigger than just Shannon Sharpe. And that's why his silence-breaking moment has gone viral across every corner of the internet. He didn't just comment on the arrest. He reframed it as a lesson about loyalty, empathy, and the culture's addiction to chaos. In the days following Chappelle's remarks, reactions from celebrities, athletes, and public figures began pouring in. Everyone from LeBron James to Stephen A. Smith weighed in, praising Chappelle for his perspective while expressing sympathy for Sharpe. LeBron posted, "Nobody's perfect, but I respect anyone who can admit when life hits hard." That sentiment captured what many were feeling: exhaustion from the constant cycle of outrage and a desire to see real conversations instead of endless finger-pointing. Even some of Chappelle's critics admitted that his words forced them to rethink how quickly they jumped to conclusions. Behind the scenes, industry insiders revealed that Chappelle and Sharpe actually have a long-standing mutual respect. They reportedly met years ago at a charity event and bonded over their similar journeys. Men who came from humble beginnings and built empires through talent, discipline, and resilience. That shared background might explain why Chappelle spoke so passionately about Shannon's situation. It wasn't just commentary, it was personal understanding. He knows what it feels like to be celebrated one day and crucified the next. Meanwhile, the internet has continued dissecting Chappelle's monologue, breaking down each line like it's a rap verse. Some fans claim his message was coded, that he was using Shannon's arrest as a metaphor for how black success is often punished in America. They point to his reference about watching kings crowned, then caged, interpreting it as a critique of systemic bias in both the media and the justice system. Whether that's what Chappelle meant or not, the interpretation has taken on a life of its own, sparking debates about race, power, and the double standards of public forgiveness. Shannon himself has remained mostly silent since the incident, aside from a short statement through his lawyer asking for privacy. But his silence has only made the story grow bigger. Every day, new think pieces and podcasts analyze the cultural meaning behind it all. Chappelle's comments have become the centerpiece of that discussion, the dividing line between those who believe in grace and those who demand consequences. It's not just a scandal anymore, it's a study in how the public handles imperfection. The brilliance of Chappelle's approach is that he didn't defend Shannon's actions. He defended his right to be seen as a human being. In an age where cancel culture can erase someone overnight, that's a radical stance. He's forcing the public to reckon with its own contradictions. How people claim to want accountability but really crave spectacle. His words have forced everyone, from fans to media outlets, to ask the uncomfortable question: do we actually care about truth or just entertainment? Now,
Shannon Sharpe tried to make the whole thing go away with $10 million, but y'all, it didn't work. His legal team just confirmed that he offered his accuser at least $10 million during private mediation talks before she hit him with that $50 million sexual lawsuit.
Now, weeks after his comments, Chappelle's remarks have taken on a prophetic tone. The noise surrounding Shannon Sharpe's arrest has begun to fade, but the conversation it sparked continues to evolve. Many see this as a turning point, not just for Shannon, but for how society treats fallen figures in general. It's become clear that Chappelle wasn't simply reacting to a scandal. He was exposing a sickness in the culture itself. The obsession with downfall, the rush to judge, and the lack of empathy. It's all part of a larger machine that feeds on outrage. And like he's done so many times before, Chappelle used his platform to pull back the curtain. The comedian has since elaborated on his comments in a follow-up interview, saying, "I don't excuse bad behavior, but I don't believe in destroying people either. We're all just one mistake away from being the story." That humility resonated with audiences, reminding them why Chappelle remains one of the most respected voices in entertainment. He's not interested in protecting reputations, he's interested in protecting truth. And in an era where truth is often buried beneath headlines, that makes him one of the few voices still speaking with clarity. As for Shannon Sharpe, the road ahead won't be easy. Even if the legal case resolves in his favor, rebuilding public trust will take time. But if Chappelle's message has done anything, it's softened the blow. Fans who might have written Sharpe off completely are now calling for patience and understanding. They're realizing that accountability and compassion don't have to be opposites. In a strange way, Chappelle's words have given Shannon something no PR team could ever manufacture: grace. At its core, this entire moment feels bigger than either man. It's a mirror held up to the culture, showing how quickly people switch from love to hate, from celebration to condemnation. It's a reminder that the same public that cheers success will feast on failure. But Chappelle's message cuts through that noise, challenging people to think differently. Maybe redemption doesn't come from proving innocence. Maybe it comes from surviving the storm with your humanity intact. And that's the full story behind Dave Chappelle breaking his silence on Shannon Sharpe's arrest. The message, the meaning, and the moment that turned a scandal into a conversation about truth, loyalty, and empathy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest stories and moments shaping culture today.